Okay. It is going on 9 o'clock Chicago time, and currently I am not in Chicago. We're not at Angel Water here today. So I had some training that I had to do this past week in California. So it's kept me out in California for this very first time I haven't been at Angel. So we do have, I think, a couple people at Angel Water in case anyone shows up there to have some coffee and donuts. And with me, I'm here in Utah where I've got some activities going on. And we're going to start here in just about 2 minutes. We're going to talk about scary contaminants. So looking forward to it. And if you just hold tight, we'll get started in a second. All right, it looks like it's 9 o'clock Chicago time, 8 o'clock where I'm at. So what I am going to do today is we're going to talk about scary contaminants. But before we get going, I want to make sure that we stress what Angel Water is all about. Angel Water is about really making your water more healthy for your home and for your family. And so, water's been a big part of my life for the past 15 years. And before that, I was passionate about making people more healthy with pharmaceuticals. So today we're going to talk about things that actually are in the water supply that really are going to affect your health. It's not so much your home, but today we're going to talk more about the health. I'm completely passionate about trying to make people more healthy. And so when we take a look at what kind of scary contaminants there are in the water supply, I want you guys all to know that, we are going to talk about 3 or 4 of them, and the goal is to make sure that you understand why they're in the water supply, what are they, and then touch on how you can get them out. So again, I'm passionate about making you more healthy. I think the main way to make you more healthy is by improving the quality of water that you drink. You are made of water, so when your body is a filter. So since your body is a filter and you are consuming, whether it's food or water or air, your body has to filter whatever you bring into your body. It has to filter it out. So logic for me just says, why would you want to bring anything that's scary into your body at all and then expect your body to dispel it? So the EPA has guidelines as to what should be in your water and what shouldn't be in the water, and those guidelines were set in 1972. So 1972 is a long time ago, right? I mean, I was born by then, but a lot of you weren't, and those standards are still being used today. And there's been some great reviews or great research done, especially from a not-for-profit called Environmental Working Group, and that's ewg.org. And what they've done is they've taken a closer look at some of these EPA reports, and they were able to disseminate those reports and put it into an easy-to-understand format. So that easy-to-understand format is something that at my company, my staff uses to see what's in the water, and then we try to teach customers and teach people what products or what water filters you can use to take them out. So we're, again, very, very passionate about making your water more healthy. And today our scary contaminant list is going to be basically focused on what's in Chicago. Since Angel Water is based in Chicago and we don't do much national work, we're going to talk about the top contaminants that is found whether you're in the suburbs of Chicago or if you're in the city of Chicago. Now, the city of Chicago gets its water supply from Lake Michigan, and the suburbs of Chicago get it usually from well water systems. Now, the number one contaminant that we want to talk about is trihalomethanes. Trihalomethanes is a contaminant that actually is formed when cities add chlorine to water. So this chlorine interacts with organics in the water, and a byproduct of that is going to be a variety or a family of trihalomethanes. And what you need to understand is that sits in the water supply, and it comes out and it gets into your glass, and then you're consuming it. Now, the water actually does meet EPA standards when it comes to trihalomethanes, but a report that came out from the EWG last week shows that they proved, or they're trying to demonstrate, that several 100,000 cases of cancer do occur every year to people who are drinking water that it does meet EPA standards. So it's like a revolutionary report. So to me, it's worth you researching that, looking at it, and making your own decision as to whether or not that's a concern for you. Now, if trihalomethanes is a concern for you in drinking it, you need to understand that a typical water pitcher filter, like a Brita filter or your refrigerator filter, does not take that out. My recommendation to you is to, like always, talk to your water filter company and make sure that you buy a water filter that is NSF certified to take out trihalomethanes. Now, there's not much you can do with trihalomethanes. I have customers all the time ask me, why would they do that, and what's going on? But you have to understand that chlorine is very important to add to the water because it kills bacteria. A good example is in Lake Michigan. 1/4 inch of rainfall will produce over 5 billion gallons. Again, that's 5 billion gallons of raw sewage that goes back into Lake Michigan. So based on that, you have to ask yourself, wow, if the city is getting its water from Lake Michigan and all the sewage just went out to Lake Michigan, how do they balance that off? Well, they have what's called water treatment plants. Water treatment plants are designed just basically to treat the water with a chemical. And based on that aspect, there's going to be some byproducts of adding that chlorine. So again, when I look at if I'm going to drink a glass of water, I'm going to ask you guys that same question. If you're going to drink a glass of water, is that going to be something that you want in your body? And by the way, another very good point about the EPA standards is the EPA standards were set for a man that weighs 180 pounds. So that's like me. I weigh 180 pounds. So if you have a family, kids, children, or a wife, or whatever, and even animals, and their weight class is less than 180 pounds, then you, as the head of the household, have to make that decision. Is that a concern for you, that they're drinking a water that has a contaminant in it that is the standard was set for a man 180 pounds? So based on that, that's something for you to decide. Again, that was trihalomethanes. The second contaminant that's in the water supply that I think that is absolutely important for you guys to take a look at is Hexavalent Chromium 6. Now, a lot of people ask me, isn't that what the Aaron Brockovich story was about? And it absolutely is. This is it's a contaminant that is usually done from or comes from the byproduct of manufacturing. And so it permeates almost all the water supplies in the Chicagoland area. So, Hexavalent Chromium 6, there is no standard for. The EPA does not set a standard, or has not set a standard yet for that. California did, and our water supplies in the Chicagoland area, most of them, all of the city of Chicago water, is above the standard that California has out there. So, to me, that makes it another contaminant that you might not, it's scary contaminant actually, right? It's Halloween time. So it's another scary contaminant that you should probably consider and look at and say, well, is that something I really want in my water supply? Again, the EPA doesn't have a standard for it, so you have to ask yourself, do you want that in your water or out of your water? And based on the fact that I know that it causes cancer, from all the research that's been done on it and California's guidelines, I would recommend that you get that out of your water as well. I mean, we don't want that in your family's water. You don't want your kids drinking it. And so you'd want to get yourself a good NSF certified system to get that out. Now, you have to do a lot of research, by the way. So when you contact your company, or if you go online, you want to really do your research to make sure that there's an NSF listing, which means on the product itself, it's going to say NSF certified for, and you got to make sure that it has the listing for that contaminant. At my company, we do all that research, and over the years, I'll be very honest, we've made mistakes. We thought we were sitting there selling systems that were certified, and the manufacturer said it takes it out, but they didn't get the certification. And without that certification, we really don't know. That means that the manufacturer says it's good, but they didn't pay the money to National Sanitation Foundation to prove that it actually takes that water out, or contaminant out. So again, do your homework. Usually that requires reverse osmosis. So a countertop filter, a refrigerator filter, that's not going to take out chromium 6. So, if I'm feeding that to my children, or if you are, you really want to do some thinking behind it. Again, like I told you before, you are a filter. So filters take things out of water or out of the food you eat. A lot of people right now are moving to organic foods because they don't want the pesticides and herbicides. So if if an apple was made with a lot of pesticides and here you are eating it, your body's got to get rid of it. And if it doesn't, it becomes part of you. I mean, we are nothing but a live filter, right? We are nothing but trillions of cells. So as your body absorbs all these things, it's logical to me that you want to get all that out. Anyhow, the third contaminant that almost all of Chicago water supply has is radium-228 and 226. Now again, in most cases, most communities, the level is below EPA standards. We have had other cities in the Chicagoland area that have chronically been testing higher than the EPA standard on radium-228 and 226. The EPA or the EWG came out in 2007 and showed all these cities in the Chicagoland area that had high levels. But over the years, a lot of the cities have now put in special filter systems to help reduce the levels of radium that's in the water. By the way, they've reduced it. They didn't eliminate it. So to me, here's the standard. They may have been above that standard, and then they just came down and met it or were slightly below it. And, when I'm consuming water and I'm thinking of my health, that's what's driving me. I want to share what I know with you. So if you're looking to make yourself more healthy and you look at this contaminant radium, which comes from actually an asteroid hit our planet right where Chicago sits, and that when it hit the planet, what it did is it left behind radium, and then of course we had millions of years of dirt and soil build up on top of that, and that radium is still trying to get out. So it permeates or percolates through the Earth's crust, and as it does, it percolates through the aquifers that are underneath our feet in Chicago, and it percolates through Lake Michigan. So as it percolates through that water, it attaches to the water molecule. It sort of jumps on board. And then that's something that travels through the water system and comes to your glass, and then you're going to drink it. And so, again, I look at radium-228 and 226. It's a known carcinogen. And, I even have a story about that. There's a city that's just outside of Chicago called Lake Zurich. And in Lake Zurich, I went to go visit a lady once, and I was explaining to her that this contaminant in the water, and she stops me. She's like, oh my God. She's like, you're not going to believe this. She's like, I got to know, does it cause brain cancer? And I said, I don't know. I mean, I know that it says cancer, but I don't know if it's brain cancer or not. She's like, on my street alone, we have, out of 10 people, we have 6 that have brain cancer. She's like, it's unbelievable. And I go, that's the most difficult part about water and contaminants, is that because you consume so many things, right? We consume, let's say, pesticides on an apple, and you eat it, and you drink a glass of water that might have some levels of radium. And by the way, at that time, that city, Lake Zurich, was in above EPA standards of radium-228 and 226 in the water. So I explained to her, even though they've had violations, I cannot tell you, unequivocally, there's no doctor, there's no scientist that can say that caused your cancer. I mean, especially since you just ate an apple that has pesticides and herbicides in it, or you might have traveled to another country and you ate something there and that becomes part of you. So this is why it's very difficult. It's very, very difficult to point to something that for surely caused you cancer. Now, the Aaron Brockridge story isn't a good example of how they were able to do that, but that's because so many people in a condensed area got cancer. So many people right by the manufacturing plant got cancer from Hexavalent Chromium 6. So because of that, you got to ask yourself, is that, that was one easy to prove situation. the rest of the hundreds of millions of us who drink water on a regular basis, we don't have that case where something explodes like that and so many people get sick. So it might be 5 people on a street, it might be 2 people on a street, and it might be the water and it might not be the water. So I wasn't able to tell her for sure that it was or wasn't, but it's just logical to me that if there's something that causes cancer, it's in your water, you want to be more healthy, let's make sure you take it out. Now, radium 228 and 226 can be removed out of water, not with a carbon filter either. It has to be removed using ion exchange or reverse osmosis. So a NSF certified product, again, would be a great product to take radium out of the water. And I urge you to talk to your water treatment company, or if you go again online, look for the right certification for that to get that out of the water. Now, those are the top contaminants. Again, we talked about trihalomethanes, we talked about hexavalent chromium 6, and thirdly, we talked about radium 228 and 226 that's in the water. Now, there's a few others, but they are city specific. So if you want to learn more about all of the ones, there could be 10, there could be 7 other contaminants that are in your water supply. Those are found at the EWG website, so you can go there yourself and find them, and then make sure, again, you get a product that takes them out. Now, usually when you're going to go and get chromium 6 out of the water, you're most likely going to get the rest of those contaminants that you see on the EWG website out of there, because hexavalent chromium 6 requires reverse osmosis to get that out, and when you use RO, it does usually get most of the other contaminants that I've seen out there. So again, my goal is just to make sure that I make you and your family more healthy. I love that. I'm passionate about making you guys more healthy, and if I can do that, it would make my life. So again, if there's something I can do for you, you can always reach out to us at Angel Water. Our phone number is 847-382-7800. Our website is angelwater.com, and we would love to be able to be of more help to you. I also always advocate to people, let's eat right. I try to eat organic food. Lately, I've even been trying to eat a lot less meat. Number 2, drink half your weight in ounces a day. If I weigh 180 pounds like I do, I'm shooting for 90 ounces of water a day. I like it to be very high quality water, and so I do filter my tap water. And then, of course, I recommend exercising. Exercising is one of the best things that you can do because, again, as you breathe or as you sweat and you work out, that you are exhaling water out of the body, so your body's actually purging some of the water that you get, and that's the whole idea here, is that we're sort of taking things and pushing them through our body. So as you drink water, it's going to clean the body, and then it's going to send it out, and of course that's through going to the washroom. So again, I really appreciate you guys coming and visiting me again at Angel Water. I'm Andrew Wilson, and we're passionate about making your home and your family more healthy. Tune in next month, and we look forward to helping you with your passions as well. Have a great day.